Next, we have inequalities on a number line. So when we have inequalities, remember the solution isn't just one number, it can be a range of numbers. So the way we can show that is by putting it on a number line, and that indicates what the solutions are. So these first two up top are having us with the inequality, and we're going to put it on the number line. So the first one tells us x, meaning the numbers that are greater than 3. So when we do this, what we want to do is find the comparative number, because what we're doing is we're comparing x to 3. So we go to 3 and we circle it. Great. But then we need to ask ourselves, okay, does the solution include 3? If I were to put in 3 for x, would that be true? 3 greater than, is 3 indeed greater than 3? Is that true or false? Well, that's actually false. Because there's no equal to, we leave this circle open. So since there's no equal to, meaning 3 is not greater than 3, we go ahead and we do not shade that in. We leave this open. Then we say, okay, well, am I going to shade the numbers that are to the left of that circle or to the right? Well, x is numbers greater than that. Okay, so what I like to do is pick a test point. So for example, 0. If I again were to take 0 and plug it in for x, we would have 0 is greater than 3. That is false. So you do not want to shade this side containing 0, because solutions are things that make this true. For example, if we took the number 7 and plugged it in, 7 is greater than 3. That is indeed true, meaning we should shade the side towards the 7. So everything in the shaded area would be a solution to this inequality, and then that arrow means it goes on forever and ever. So any number that would also be implied to be that way. Now, over here, you can see we've switched it up. I put the P to this side, and that shouldn't matter if we use our test points like I did over here. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm comparing to the number -6. So on my number line, I'm going to go find -6 and circle it. Okay, now if I take that -6 and put it in for P, so I have -6 is greater than or equal to -6. Well, that is true. -6 isn't greater than it, but it is equal to, because or equal to is also an option. So that means we fill this in. Okay, so that means that that is included in our solution. You can put -6 in for P, and this will be true. Now let's test a point over here. Again, I love to pick 0 if it's an option. So I'm going to take 0 and put it in for P. And here I have -6 is greater than or equal to 0. Well, that's not true. 0 is actually bigger than -6 because it's a -6. That's false, meaning we don't want to shade on this side because these are going to be false numbers. Then we're going to jump to the other side and let's try -8. I'm going to do this one down below. If I try -8 and put it in for P, so I have -6 is greater than or equal to -8. That is true. Okay, -6 is bigger than -8 because remember, negative numbers, the bigger they are, the more or the less they are. So that means we shade to that side, and again, the arrow implies everything that would be in that direction would make this true and be the solution to the original problem. Okay, so if the inequality has an equals to, you fill in the circle because you can actually plug the number in and it will be true. Over here, there's no equals to part. You leave that circle open because when you plug it in, it's going to be false. 3 is not greater than 3. However, -6 is indeed greater than or equal to -6 because they're equal. Now, down here on these ones, you can see the shading is already done for us. So what we need to do is create the inequality. Okay, so what I like to do is I kind of give myself a structure by starting with the variable. And you can pick anything. It's always nice. We always just like to pick X because we're lazy, aren't we? And the number, or the indicated number here, is 2. So then I'm going to use that. Now the only thing left is to fill in the inequality and what is happening. So firstly, since it's a filled in circle, we know it's going to have an equals to portion because it's filled in, right? But we need to know, is the X greater or is the 2 greater? So what I want to do is pick a number from this section, and we need to pick the sign that makes it true. Because since it's already shaded, we know that it should make it true if we plug in -3. So let's think about this. -3 blank 2. Which one of those is bigger? Well, it's the 2. We have to make it true because we already know it's shaded. And then we take that symbol and put it in. So the 2 needs to be the bigger value. Okay, so it's kind of the reverse thinking. Here we had to find which side is true and shade that. Here we already know what's true and we need to put in the appropriate sign to make sure that it is true. So let's come over here. Let's make it fancy. Let's use N. And again, the number I have is a -1. So let's put that on the other side. And again, that's an open circle. So you do not want to include the equals to. We just want to know, well, what symbol goes here? Okay, well, let's pick a number. This one we already know is supposed to be true. Because it's in the shaded area, right? It's in that shaded zone. So what we'll do is we'll put in 4 for N, 4, and then we have we don't know, and then -1. Well, this has to be a true, so which one of those is bigger, -1 or 4? Well, the 4 is bigger. So that means that we want the little pointy part to go towards the -1, or the less than part to go towards the -1. So we just take that symbol and put it in between. Again, don't include an equals part because the circle is open. And then there you have it.